I want you to reflect, I wanted you to reflect on the story. It's not just a it's not just a simple story, it is a loaded story. What did it tell you? What, if I ask you, I will write down on the board, what did it tell you? I want you to think. Because enough of passive Vedanta. I want you to be thinking. No, it's a board marker.
Ah. Ja, kann man aufschreiben?
Ja.
Sicher?
You don't want to waste paper. It's a board marker. We tried this before.
Okay.
Then it will...
Yeah, then we can...
Raise it?
Yeah.
I don't want it to be imprinted. Okay. Anybody? What did you get from this story?
All my wishes and what I want, and I want to this and that, and I have a lot of wishes and desires. It is not what I'm really looking for. There's more.
Excellent. What she's saying, excellent. What she's saying is, this is about what am I looking for. The whole story is about what am I looking for. We have a sophisticated name for this in Sanskrit. It is called Purushartha Nishchaya. What am I looking for in life? Because different situations in life, as she said very rightly, that life presents many different opportunities to do this and to do that and to do this and to do that. And it's confusing. What is it that what I should really do? And we get attracted. This maybe and maybe that. Right? So therefore, what am I looking for is actually tested by, as she said, opportunities or situations that we go through in life. That's what she's saying. And then we have to make decisions. What to go for, what not to go for, and that is depending upon what I understand about what am I looking for. Brilliant. Right? So what am I looking for? How do I know what am I looking for? It is decided by how I make decisions. How do I deal with different situations? It's not just, now I know what am I looking for in the textbook, I'm looking for moksha. You really need to look at your life and you really need to see what is it, how do you make decisions? Because Nachiketa had to make a decision. He was given a choice of what he was looking for. 3 things he was looking for. He was given the opportunity to express 3 things that he was looking for, because he was asked to choose 3 boons. Okay? How did he deal with different situations? The so-called traumatic situation of his father telling him to go and see Lord Yama. Right? He could have been depressed, crying forever, that my father did this to me. He not only took that opportunity, he told his father that, hey, you must honor what you are saying. And then he happily went there And he says, if I go there, what? I need to make use of my being there. If I am getting an opportunity to meet Lord Yama, I can't let it go. Right? Every difficult situation has that opportunity along with it. Along with it, there is an opportunity, and that again reinforces what? My own introspection of what am I looking for. The way I'm going to deal with that situation will strengthen what I'm looking for, if I'm clear about what I'm looking for. Difficulties in life cannot be avoided. If you're looking for Vedanta so that then there is no difficulty coming to you, you will be disappointed. Vedanta is really giving you a perspective in light of which that big difficulty becomes in its own place. And you're able to, you have leisure to deal with it. That's what it does for you. Okay? Then, what else?
But I think you can only wish for these things as he did, and you have your attain well settled.
Excellent, excellent. What she's saying is that this moksha is not something which you deny and you depreciate the value of artha, kama and dharma. Moksha is not one up and negating the three. Beautiful. Right? It is, you need to have artha. If you were struggling to make two ends meet, you will not be here. Right? If you have not had some basic nourishment through some amount of pleasures and seen the limitation of the pleasure, you would always want a bigger car, bigger house. It's impossible to just give up all of that. Okay? Dharma, depreciating dharma and highlighting moksha is one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they come to Vedanta. Dharma is the basis on which moksha can be built. If you have no foundation of dharma, you have no foundation to even contemplate. Dharma cannot be avoided. Dharma actually becomes a foundation. And through karma yoga, through sattvic, through managing raga dvesha, you are actually firming the basis of dharma. You're making a foundation for moksha ready. Okay? Please don't depreciate dharma. Yes, it cannot give you moksha, true. But without it, forget about moksha. Okay? So therefore, what as Root says, that artha, it is not that we are denying, when I know that what I'm looking for is, let's say, moksha, I'm not denying artha, dharma and kama. Where in the story this was made clear? Because it's not my idea, it's in the text.
And you can see that Nachiketa is already prepared. He has standing to say this to his father. This is the first.
Yes.
Yeah, and to make trouble. Yeah, for
Yes.
his father.
Yes.
And
Excellent.
what he feels safe as a child that he can do this to his father.
Excellent. Right? Excellent. What Yuta is saying is, where do you see his regard for dharma? It comes out first when he tells his father hey, why are you giving these useless things? That is Dharma. Right? How does the story tell you that you can't just forget Dharma? He asks his father, hey, why don't you, by saying, why don't you give me as a danam, what is he saying? Why are you giving all these useless things? That is his understanding of Dharma. If I'm giving something, I have to give something which is valuable. It is Dharma. It comes not within moksha, it comes within Dharma. That is growth.
And Arthur,
And that giving is not a sacrifice. He was happy to go. It was not Mother Teresa in Utah's words, right? It was not saying, oh, I'll sacrifice myself, Father, I will be slave for somebody, and because of you. He didn't say these words. He was happy to go and do something. Why not? Without that sense of sacrifice. Right? So this is, why don't you give me? That is his first thing. The second thing he taught his father was what? When you have said something, your words, don't just give your words lightly. When you have said something, I don't want to retrieve it. When you say something, mean it and honor it. Right? That is Dharma. Very good. Where else did you see his, what, as Ruth says, that these are all his regard for Dharma, right?
yeah. And also for Arthur.
Exactly. Where was his thing for Artha? Very good.
Well, when he gets the choice of the three wishes,
Yes.
he has, of course, the experience that they don't make him happy. I bet no person is happy with this wealth and
Okay.
riches.
Excellent. Yes. What Ruth is saying is his regard for this also comes within a little bit of this Purushartha Nishchaya, what am I looking for, by saying that Artha and Kama, I have never seen what? Anybody being totally satisfied with, right? I've never seen somebody being totally satisfied with Artha and Kama. But he goes along immediately after that. What does he say? He says, now that I have seen you, I will have it anyway. That means he's not depreciating. He's not saying, oh, I'm not interested. This is what he's saying. Without it, even moksha is not possible. It has its own place. This is what Ruth was saying. From his own words. It's not my story. It's not my interpretation. It is what is written in the text. So any teacher who's telling you otherwise is not following the text. It's not contradicting what I say. He says that even though I have seen that these two have never satisfied somebody totally, the very fact that I am seeing you, I will have it anyway.
I don't understand that. The fact he's seeing Lord
That means I
Yama.
have come and seen you. Lord Yama is
Why-
an exalted.
Why does he has it already when we see Lord Yama?
Because Lord Yama has a capacity to bless him. Right? Your Lord Yama has a position in a scheme of things which has the capacity to actually give him what he's looking. He has a capacity to give boon, right? So that means he has that power.
Yeah. Or that
So-
he can see him as this vision of Yama is a blessing.
Exactly. So that means when you are in touch with the order, right? And when you are in search of the truth, then as she says, some basic needs of you need to be satisfied. Because if you are struggling with the basic needs, you will not be able to come to moksha. And if you have enough punya, your needs will be met so that you have an opportunity to learn more. Right? So therefore, we are not depreciating artha. We are putting it in its own place. Okay? And this is what he says, as she says, and this is comes, the fact that I have seen you, you will bless me and you will give me this anyway so that I can pursue moksha. What else did you learn from this story? So that means dharma in its own place, artha and kama not denying but in their own place. This is maturity as exposed in the text.
He never asked only for himself because he always
Excellent.
asked for the human. For the-
Excellent. His understanding of dharma, very, very good, was not just what? How do I deal with different situations? How do I make decisions? It was also for what? What was his second boon? What did he ask for? The first and the second boon. The first is his immediate family, which is his father. This is again comes under Swadharma. Comes under Swadharma. Upanishad through this story is showing us this whole picture. Please understand. Swadharma includes what? Your family, father, and what was the second boon?
Ritual.
Ritual for the well-being of everyone. This comes under what? Both Swadharma in its larger sense and Lokasangraha. You remember the first day presentation of what Vedic vision of Dharma is? It's not just not lying, not cheating. Big vision of Dharma. There are some universal values that I cannot transgress. There are some duties and responsibilities that I have towards other human beings and society in general. And I have to rise up where I become not just the consumer, but the contributor in the society. Today this study is possible because of contribution of all this lineage of teachers. Without them, there is nothing. We will have no material. I'll just tell you, you're the whole and you figure it out and experience it. That's all. Right? So therefore, you have this ritual for well-being. This all is within Swadharma and also Loka Sangraha. What is Loka Sangraha? Being the contributor, not just doing the minimum possible, rising above that. What else? Anything else? Very good. I'm so happy you're capturing all the nuances that are in the story, right? Relating Artha, Dharma, Kama that we are so used to mugging up blindly. understanding the nuances through a story. Relationship, proper relationships.
He had also enough discrimination to know what he could really get from Lord Dharma. So
Excellent.
that he was basically going to the right person to get what he wanted.
Excellent. Absolutely, right? So, very, very good. Now he has this who to go for this teaching. You have hundreds of options. You do Vedanta teacher Google. And you will find pages and pages and pages and pages of teachers. Who do you go to? In order to choose, options are available. There are two things. One is, according to your preparedness, the teacher, the laws will give you the teacher that you deserve. But you also need to use your own free will, because if you are exposed to a few teachers who is resonating with you, it's a big thing in Vedanta. And who resonates with you it will depend upon where you are. Right? So therefore, looking for or finding a right teacher the person who resonates with your being is function of both prarabdha and purushartha. Some is organized by the laws, but within that you are constantly making your choices. And then making use of that opportunity. Even if you are with the teacher, who is the best teacher, but if you don't use your free will to make use of that opportunity, it's the opportunity which is wasted. Excellent point. Excellent point. Brilliant. Right? So looking for and finding a teacher that involves what? Both prarabdha and purushartha. And making use of that opportunity also involves purushartha. And little bit of understanding of prarabdha. That opportunities come to you. If you don't understand all the terms, don't worry, because most of the people have some exposure to Vedanta, so I'm using these terms. I will explain to you all of this during the text. Prarabdha means the past causes which give you the opportunities. Purushartha means your own choices which make you take advantage or waste away the opportunity that is given to you. Yes?
You just answered. Because I was thinking he doesn't choose because his father chooses actually. No? He said, I give you two.
Yes.
But he
But
used
then,
the opportunity. No?
he could have gone to Yama and just, been there and then that's it. Right? He made it into a point. He wanted to be seen by Lord Yama. What did he do? He stood there, not eating, not drinking, so that what? He would be noticed by Lord Yama. That's his purushartha, not prarabdha. Brilliant. What else?
I think this point with not eating, and he stays there for 3 days, he really showed his interest. I think this is an important point to tap.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is his purushartha that he is using, looking and finding a teacher, and also kind of, making an effort to, this comes a little bit under certain amount of disciplining is required, right, to understand that whole thing, that you can't just say, oh, I'm the whole and this individual is just loose. We can't afford to be a loose individual, loose, passive individual. That is, you need to make that effort, and sometimes it requires a certain amount of disciplining. Okay? So there in Tattva Bodha, the very first text of Vedanta, they talk about what? Shama, Dhamma. These are all these sampatti, some wealth that you need to have to prepare yourself, right? So that means a certain amount of perseverance, certain amount of commitment, certain amount of willing to go through slight, challenges, but staying with the vision of what am I looking for. That's very, very good. That comes under Purushartha. Right? He made that effort. That goes along with what he's saying, that Purushartha was in form of, also doing something to be noticed by Lord Yama. Yes.
I have some difficulties with Dharma.
Yes.
And what I understood is that Dharma has to do something with high ethics.
Mm-hmm.
And but I do not really find a German resonance, so I have difficulties to bring it down to my German understanding.
Okay.
And two more thoughts. And what I think is, and I want to ask if this is right, that Dharma is the laws in Ishvara, and so it's very important to respect and to know the laws, and that is the grounding for growing up and for moksha.
Excellent. What Sahaja is talking about is what our understanding, the Vedic understanding of Dharma is, as I showed on the first day, threefold. When we talk about Dharma, we talk about three things. The first thing is what we call Samanya Dharma, which is what Sahaja is talking about. Samanya Dharma means Samanya Dharma is universal ethical values. What does it mean, universal ethical values? Okay? It means that I know I don't want to be lied to. I know I don't want to be hurt. I know I don't want to be cheated. And I also know you don't want the same. I know that. Right? Not only me, somebody growing up in Africa, in a small village, will equally know that. I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to be cheated. I don't want to be lied to. Somebody growing up in New York City, Manhattan, will also know the same. In Africa, in Australia, any part of the world, a child, without being taught by the parent, by the religion, by the teachers, knows, I don't want to be hurt. And also knows others don't want to be hurt. So that means, where is that understanding coming from? That understanding comes from what? Human brain is designed in a way that it is coming with that programming which understands, some basic understanding of what is right. The laws which are there. Like a monkey is come with a program of what? Jumping from one tree to the other. For a while the monkey watches the mother monkey go, but after that the monkey doesn't have to be taught The mother monkey doesn't have to say, hey, there are laws of gravity, and if you jump from one to the other, you will fall, so therefore you have to, comes intuitively. Similarly, human being is born with a free will, and along with this free will comes a guiding understanding of that which guides your free will, the law of Dharma, which is what we call Samanya Dharma. It is something which is equally available to everyone, regardless of gender, religion, nationality, age. It is that's why we call it universal values. What Vedanta says is, even if we know that I should not hurt and others should not hurt, we end up doing things which hurts others. Why? It's not that we don't know. We know it and still it happens.
So our distortions.
Excellent. These are our distortions which make us do things that we understand are not right. Brilliant. Right? So if I want you to follow Dharma, what will I do? If I keep on telling you this is Dharma, which you already know, am I going to influence change in behavior? No. If I want you to follow universal Dharma, what should I do? You already know what is right and what is wrong. If I keep on writing what are the rules and what you should do, it's not going to make much of a difference because you know it already. If the distortions, as Sahajo says, makes me not follow what I know to be right, what is the job of a teacher?
Give some advice, some, I don't know, work, that so I can remove this distortions.
Excellent. Brilliant. Right? If I want to help you to follow universal Dharma, I don't need to give you a summon on what is universal Dharma. I need to remove, as she says, certain distortions in your understanding which makes you not follow that Dharma that you know is right. That is the job of a teacher. This in Vedanta is called knowing the value of following the values, value of values. Right? So therefore, this is very, very important. How do I show you the value of values? You keep on asking one more question. Till you, otherwise I'm just, how do I show you the value of values?
If you need.
Ah, yes. Thank you. Yeah. By showing you the enormity of loss for you when you don't follow the values. If I show you that by not following values, you lose, nobody wants to be a loser. Right? So you don't follow values for the sake of the society, for the sake of the religion, because somebody has said that. You do it because you want to not be hurt. Simple. Right? So this is how you remove your distortions by seeing the minute I transgress values, what happens to me. What Vedas say, two kinds of results come to you. One is Drishtaphala and the other one is Adrishtaphala. Drishtaphala is seen result, Adrishtaphala is unseen result. Seen result, what? Guilt, almost unavoidable. Every time you go against what you know, you can say something mean to somebody, in this bout of anger, then you feel what? Guilty. Why did I say that? I shouldn't have said that. It was too harsh. Guilt. Unavoidable. Okay. But what it says is, you feel guilty is an immediate response which is given by the universe, showing you the nature of your action, showing you that it is a distortion. Because if you were not given that feedback, you will never realize that it's a distortion. How would you recognize it's a distortion? That was your question yesterday. How do I know whether it is a distortion or not? Through this feedback. If it brings pain, if it brings guilt, if it brings hurt, I know there is a distortion. And then I'm given an opportunity to correct that distortion. Okay? So therefore, this is unseen result will then mean what? Some difficult situation in the future. But you don't know why. Many times when we go through difficulties, we have this question, why me? This why me is a very, very common, why all this is happening to me? Unseen result. You don't know, and many of them are unknowable. There are laws at work. Right? So therefore, if you want to avoid this unseen result, what you should do now?
Follow Dharma.
Yeah, exactly. Follow Dharma. Smart thing to do. Excellent. And for the things that you have already done in the past over which you have no control, what do you do?
Bear it.
Huh?
Bear the result.
Bear the result and pray. Pray to have certain tranquility to deal with it. And to reduce the enormity of manifestation of. We have prayaschitta karma. Prayers. To neutralize past actions which are not proper, that are already done. Right? So this is what is Samanya Dharma. But our understanding of Dharma is not just Samanya Dharma, it includes two more aspects. What are the other two aspects? Sorry?
Swadharma.
Swadharma. Excellent. Oh my God. Okay, now let me not. Okay. Now, Dharma, as Sahajo understands, is right. But what she is talking about is Samanya Dharma. Right? Universal ethical values. Where did you see this thing for Samanya Dharma in Nachiketa?
Saying what you mean.
Brilliant. He told his father,
Saying what you mean.
he told his father,
Or meaning what you say.
both. He told his father, what? Hey, you don't just say things, I'll send you to Yama like that. Now that you said it, you have to mean it. This is falling within Samanya Dharma. Correct. What is the second definition of Dharma in Veda is, as she says, it is Swadharma. What is Swadharma? It's not just enough not to be cheating, not to be lying, not trying not to hurt others. human growth and sensitivity to dharma requires another dimension. And what is that dimension? What do you understand by Swadharma?
To make it personal.
Excellent. How do you make it personal?
That I look in my life what duties
Excellent.
are and
Excellent. Right? So that means I as an individual is not just one little entity living in the universe. I'm connected to so many people and so many entities like community or whatever. So there, as Sahajo says, what are my duties and responsibilities towards others? That is Swadharma. Not just Samanya Dharma. This is important, but this also, growth means you also need to incorporate this.
so
And yes.
Samanya Dharma is more collective and the other is more...
Very good, right? Very, very good. Now, what is the difference between Samanya Dharma and Swadharma? Samanya Dharma applies to everyone equally. Everybody should not hurt anybody. Everybody should not cheat. Everybody should not lie. That is no distinction. Okay? But Swadharma can be different for different people. You are playing different role than I am playing. Your Swadharma, when you go to work and you are a development expert, it's a different Swadharma than Ruth's Swadharma, right? Who is playing a different role in the society. Okay? Some Swadharma can be similar with reference to your duty towards your parents, for example, towards your spouse, towards your children. Those can be common, but not everybody has a spouse, not everybody has children, not everybody has parents who are alive, so even that differs. What is your Swadharma also differs for each individual. So therefore, people are at different stages of one Swadharma, and also at times those Swadharma are peculiar to one individual as opposed to somebody else. There is some particularity.
Where you put the cultural Dharma?
Sorry?
Where you put cultural Dharma, like something in some different countries you have different rules and different obligations or duties.
The cultural norms that we have to be a little bit more careful, because some of the cultural norms can actually be a kind of a nuance of a dharma, or it can go against dharma. For example, if you live in a culture where you tell yourself that men are superior to women, it goes against Samanya Dharma. It's not within Dharma at all. But if you live in a culture which values human relationships, then it is part of Dharma. It is enhancing Dharma. So cultural norms have to be slightly distinguished from Dharma. They can be following it, or they can be against it, or they can be highlighting one aspect, or they cannot be highlighting the other aspect. For example, if you can have a country which is highlighting one aspect of Dharma more than the other, and you have another culture which is highlighting the other aspect of Dharma more than the other, you have differences. Yeah, very good. But it does not, that you can't naturally put it in one of the categories.
So
You
there's
need
not
to
an
examine.
extra. There's not an
It's
extra.
not an extra. No. Yeah.
There come the shades of grey.
That's
all the
that
different
dancing, all the
colours,
different
no? You have to
grades,
look.
exactly. Then, where did you see this Swadharma aspect in Nachiketa? First two wishes. Right? Doing something for his father, doing something for the society. Swadharma.
And even in the third point.
Sorry?
And even in the third wish.
In the third wish,
He is wishing
for himself.
himself. And this
Excellent.
is,
That is the
just
highest
my-
dharma.
Yes,
This
yes.
is why. Very good card. Right? You think this whole idea that when I'm doing something for others, I'm sacrificing myself, it's not true. You have to take out this idea. You have to replace it with laws of dharma. Dharma is any good act on my part is going to what? Help me. Any
If I do it
extended.
with the right intention.
Exactly. If I do it with right intention. If I want to say no, but I want to be dharmic, and if I say yes, I create a conflict. I feel I'm sacrificing. If you really mean no, say no. It's better to say no than to say yes.
And this is the highest.
This is important. This is how, when you help, you don't come out as a loser. In your vision, you should not come out as a loser. If in your vision you are coming out as a loser, it's better to say no. But you can change your vision, and you can, if you can really see that I will come out as a winner by helping somebody else, the dharma becomes natural, without sense of loss.
what I was looking for is the third point.
Third point, exactly.
Means
True.
the highest.
Absolutely.
But
What Karl is saying is, even the third boon, according to him, follows within Swadharma. Why? Because you not only have responsibility towards others, you also have responsibility towards yourself. Swadharma also includes responsibility towards yourself. And if you're responsible and if you're intelligent, you'll ask for the highest. So therefore, you don't see yourself as a sacrificer. The very fact that you're asking for the third boon, which is the highest possible for you, this becomes natural, doing something for the other. Right?
I have one more question.
Yes.
Swadharma. In some teachings, it is like, what is my Swadharma in this life? It means, what is my Bestimmung, destination, something like this. You understand?
Purpose.
Yeah.
Purpose. It is also part of this, or
Yes. This Swadharma, as I said, it includes your responsibility towards yourself, where you then have to find out what is it that you are looking for. But you also have, even while you have this, you also have responsibilities towards others. It doesn't just totally drop immediately. Okay? And that keeps changing. So for example, when you are young, right, you have a certain dependency on your parents. Okay? You're related differently. But when you become an adult, or if you become somebody who's older, and if your parents are becoming very old, the very relationship, even though it's the same role, parent, a child, what is to be done in that role changes. Before you're more of a receiver, later on you become, in the same role, more of a giver. It changes. When your children are young, you have more participation. When they are older, you have to give them freedom. It's the same relationship, but the roles change. What is expected in that role changes. And most of the time, what happens is, people are frozen in that role. A child always remains a child, even if the child becomes 35 years old. Becomes a problem. Right? So therefore,
Carl, you correct me, but his question was a little bit different, I think, right? His question is, yeah, you can tell it differently.
Yeah, it was more the question in some teaching. It's like in traditional societies, it was very clear what will I do in my life, what is my destination, and so on. And today we have a lot of opportunities that we can choose. And people are looking for what is my destination, right?
Yeah, my mission, what is it that I have to accomplish?
Yeah, something like more than profession. No?
Besides
profession is part of this. No?
What is the purpose of my life?
See, the thing is, one thing is very, very important to understand, that even though globally you can say that moksha is the destination for every human being, but it is not that from the childhood you have to try to make your children as mumukshus. Don't do that.
But
what happens is, the big fallacy is that you want, whenever somebody listens to this teaching, they say, now I want my husband to listen to it, I want my children to listen to it, I want all the people that I love to listen to it. You just want to kind of convert everyone because this is the goal. You can't have a higher goal than this, but people have to have their own immediate goals, right, which go towards that bigger goal, and you have to give them that time. Concrete example. When I was 25 years old, I was working and I wanted to leave my job and I wanted to come and study Vedanta, and I thought that Swamiji will welcome me with open arms. And when I went to see Swamiji, he said no. He said, you continue to work. You've just got a job. You need to earn. You need to establish yourself. You need to feel that you're doing something and you have confidence in you that you can do things well. Even though moksha is the highest goal, right now, the time is not for you to leave everything and pursue moksha. Continue to study on the side, but this is very important. At that time, I was so disappointed, you won't believe it.
I can't imagine.
I thought I was a star student, and I thought that Swamiji will accept me with open arm. And then I said, my God, all these people, he thinks that they deserve it more than me. I was upset. Only later on I realized that he asked me to stay back made such a huge difference in my confidence level. I learned so much. It was so important that I go out there and I do what I had to do. That gave those experiences in life were invaluable in my development. If I try to abort it, I would, at that time, what the impact the teaching would have had on me would be very different from what I had when I went after years of work. Very different impact. Right? So that means your relative mission can change. And it's not that everybody from the childhood you have to convince to be going for moksha. Please don't do that. Each one has its own development. Let it all happen. Blossom it. Put the seeds. And those seeds hopefully will rise over a period of time. Wise thing to do. So the relative mission is something which is very individual. And then I don't have one answer. Right? Because different people have different skills, different talents, different place in the scheme of things. And it's their job to do a little bit of introspection and find out what is it that is what is it that will enhance my being at that point in time.
And this is part of Swadharma.
That is part of Swadharma. Perfect. Helping yourself. Perfect. Yes. Now we will continue at this only. We will not go. But it's very important to think about these things in a proper light, because you all listen to I don't know how many Vedanta things. I want you to be clear on these fundamentals, because if you're not clear on these fundamentals, you're building some castles with no foundation. And no matter how much you listen to Vedanta, it will be all up in the air. Think about these things. This creates a foundation. Without this foundation, nothing will stay. No teaching will stay. Yes, Sajo.
I feel a little bit.
No,
guilty
please,
because-
feel free.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel
Okay.
free, because this is your opportunity.
Yeah, okay. Could it be also be inside of Dharma, if you had been with another teacher, he would take you as a young girl, and this could be also be Dharma, or another thing. Sometimes I think only this is the right and there's no other opportunities, but this is not in pattern. Did I understand it right, that it could be possible if you had been with another teacher, he would decide different, and it would be also Swadharma?
Okay, that's a good question. Okay, let's say there is another teacher, and the other teacher's interpretation of what is Samanya Dharma, what is Swadharma is slightly different, right? And you're following what the teacher says. Is it Dharma or Adharma?
Depends on what is your feeling.
It
You
does.
have to check if this is makes some resonance in you.
Okay. Now, one thing is important. This is a good question, right? It depends. It's true. It depends. I don't have an answer that yes, it is Dharma or it is not Dharma. It depends. But it does not depend upon whether you like it or not. It depends upon what? Whether you are in alignment with the universe or not. If what that person says is not in alignment with the universe and how it operates, if it violates,
Okay.
then it is not in keeping with Dharma. But if that person is saying something which is in keeping with how the universe operates, it is within Dharma.
Understand.
Right? We don't decide what is Dharma. What makes me feel good doesn't decide Dharma or Adharma. What decides Dharma or Adharma is how the universe is designed. And my aligning my actions with how the universe operates. Yes?
My understanding about Swadharma in connection with my task in life, my purpose in life, that's how I understand it, is taught in the talents that I get.
Very good.
So
In the what?
It's a bit
Excellent.
also the same question as Karl.
Same question as Karl.
Yeah,
Yes.
the talents that I had.
Excellent. Very, very good. The unique, that's what I said. When you talk about Swadharma, there are some important, common aspects, that your duties and responsibilities towards your parents, your kids, your spouse, or at your workplace, towards your colleagues, towards community. But even in those, it's different, right? When your kids are young, when they are old, it all changes constantly. It's not like one common thing. And even your responsibility towards community is something which is different at different times. When you are a little bit more with resources, you give more. When you are dependent, then you take more. It keeps changing. It's not a constant thing. Right? Even Swadharma is something which is, before you come to even moksha, Your Swadharma is very particular with reference to your talents. You are not born the same as everybody else. You are born, you have a unique place, your unique talents that you can use for benefiting people around you and also nourishing yourself. Right? That also becomes your Swadharma. Identifying those skills and talents and applying yourself becomes your Swadharma, which is self-enhancing. That is Swadharma.
It's because often it's the main point is on the duties you have, colleagues, parents, and so on and so on. No?
Yes.
And it's one example is if you are in the airplane and there's a problem, you first take the
mask
for yourself and then you can help others.
Absolutely.
And this is the opposite. It sounds a little bit like the opposite.
Okay, because you know this sounds the opposite, but it is not, because all this growth comes under moksha.
Yes.
When you have moksha as the goal, you are never putting yourself at the secondary place. You are putting yourself as a prime. Yes?
Okay.
If the society's common goal is moksha, you are first taking care of yourself. You are not putting yourself behind. But in order to achieve this, I cannot just be thinking about myself and myself and myself. You need to incorporate this. Yes?
Yes.
Just an experience. I mean, the urgency for this question, what is the purpose of my life, or was ist meine Bestimmung, changed to how can I make best use of my talents, which doesn't have this urgency of finding what is my Bestimmung, because the purpose of the life is finally getting realizing moksha, and not using my talents best I can, coming under Swadharma, is not the same than what is the purpose of my life. You understand the difference? So Swadharma is more important for me now, and how to best use the talents. This is my Swadharma, and to use it, but was ist meine Bestimmung? What is the purpose of my life? Doesn't come under Swadharma anymore, but is a bit out of the box, because I use my talents to have artha kama. Of course, but it's not.
But it is in some ways, I would agree with Karl. I see what you mean. That one is that you can't put two at the same level. True. Right? Now you're using your skills, your talents and all, it's a relative level. But moksha falls in another category altogether. True. True. But the human life is meant for moksha. So if you are given human life, it almost becomes your dharma to achieve the highest.
Sure.
And if you don't, then they say you have wasted away your life. You've made not enough use of your free will to get the highest. So in some ways, your purushartha is at work also. You're right. Both of you are right. Yes.
I have a question to something said earlier, which kept coming back to me, that when you said not coming out as a loser when helping someone else or doing something for someone else. But it came to me, if you really could relieve someone else from suffering, but in turn had to, by some strange circumstances, it would be felt for you as being a loser afterwards. Would it not still be right to help another person if you could really, I mean, even going as far as saving someone else's life or so? And if it would make you feel bad, would you not still be obliged to do it?
Well, that's a very interesting question. The question is that, let's say you have done something a lot for somebody else and you feel as though you're a loser. Okay, that you gave so much, and then you didn't receive enough. Is that how you feel when you're a loser? Why would you feel you're a loser? And that it drained you, I mean, let's put it in practical words. What happens? Why do you feel like a loser? You need to articulate it. Otherwise, it remains an idea. Why would you feel you're a loser when you help somebody? What will make you feel that? Let's articulate. Why?
I guess it would be somehow being, maybe it's a sense of pride or so that would be hurt in a circumstance, or maybe because of pressure of the society, maybe. Well, I think maybe a society in going back to the Nazi times here, where people had there was a system which systematically hunted people, and there were people who sacrificed themselves to help others, and maybe even felt bad about it in a certain way, that this going against other people who were formerly their friends and their family. So I guess there could be some dissonance inside oneself.
Very complex, very true. Very, very true. This is where you see the nuances of Dharma, right? The nuances, what he's saying is very, very important. Let's analyze it a little, but now how much time do we have?
I don't know.
It's already... Oh.
10 minutes.
I would say 10 minutes.
Okay, so let's analyze what he's saying for very important. This is where I did not discuss so far, but what David's question brings to this whole discussion of Dharma, that Vedic vision of Dharma, even though it is the foundation for your moksha, it is not absolute in nature. We say it is relative in nature. This is a very, very revolutionary idea. Very, very revolutionary idea, and it corresponds to situations that David just recounted. David said, let's examine, right? What he said is, imagine you find yourself in a structure, in a system, which has a faulty starting point, and you find yourself inside that system. And the Swadharma of that system is for you to do something which is against Samanya Dharma. Very, very complex. True. What would you do? What is really your Swadharma? He gave an example of during Nazi time, you find yourself as one person who's living under this rule. And let's say you're a soldier. I will give you other examples to show that how this is something which is very common. I don't want Germans to have guilt about this. I want you to really understand these are situations which are very possible, and this is where your sense of Dharma is, your understanding of the sense of Dharma is tested. And there are no black and white. There are all these nuances, grays. Okay? Now the first example is, you find yourself in a system where there is a rule of Nazi, and let's say you are a citizen. Because you can be placed differently, right? someone can be a citizen, the other one is a soldier. Now you have to, this system is a given. You haven't chosen it. You find yourself in it. And this system has its own rule. And the rules are adharmic, right? You eliminate all those who are, let's say, Jews. Right? Now you have to operate within this system. And David gave an example where he says, now if you're a common citizen, you have your Swadharma, you've lived with neighbors, with communities which has also Jews, and now you find that they are systematically being searched and taken to concentration camps, and some of them maybe come to you for help. What is your Swadharma?
To help them.
Okay, very good. Your Swadharma is to help them, but imagine that you have children and you have your wife and your family, and you know that if you give them shelter and if you are found out, they, not only those will go anyway, but your family will also go. What will you do? What is Swadharma?
So we can make a difference. If I'm alone, I can help.
Exactly. This is where the grey areas are.
Yeah.
I can't tell one, or I can't say, because it really depends upon that situation in which you find yourself. And you have to make that decision. Very important. And there is no one answer. It depends. It really depends. But, yes.
But what is this a soldier?
Yeah. What about exactly? Now, this citizen most likely will help, and also then maybe another thing is to safeguard, while not just being in, oh yeah, I should help and all. Also safeguard, if you are practical, you will also safeguard the well-being of your family, because even that is your dharma.
Comes first.
Right?
I would say.
I don't know if it, I don't know whether it comes first or not, but they are all there. You can't just go for one and ignore the other. Right? So here, one dharma is coming in conflict with the other dharma. And you have to make choices. And there is no one right answer. Great question, David.
Yeah.
So there, this is where we talk about relativity of dharma. Even though it is a structure that you have to honor, there is no 100% in some situations. You need to use your own whole discretion. Right? Yes.
What is the situation for the soldier?
Excellent. Now, right? Now it's very good. What is the situation for a soldier? The soldier finds oneself in a different, even though they are all operating within one system, the place of that soldier is different from the place of the citizen. Right? What does the soldier do now? Soldier has one's free will.
I think he
Yes.
should turn.
What are the options?
I think he should turn around and shoot
The other soldiers.
It's the same answer. It depends.
Yeah.
It depends.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the same answer, it depends.
Yeah.
But in the Bhagavad Gita, on the
Yeah.
Let's not go to what. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. What does Bhagavad Gita say? Tell me.
On the
Yeah.
wrong side,
Yes.
the teacher of Arjuna, they know that they are on the wrong side, but they have given their word, and the Dharma is to go for it. Is this right?
This is yeah. Okay, that's a good question. This is where yeah. So that in fact, what you're saying is right. What Carl is saying is it's very important, because what he's saying, there is a character in Bhagavad Gita. His name is Bhishma, right? And he has taken a vow that he will protect whoever is the king of Hastinapura. He has taken a vow, right? Now there is a king of Hastinapura who's Duryodhana, who's a wrong person, is adharmic, but he feels that he's bound by his vow. And he makes the decision, knowing that this person is adharmic, he gives more importance to his vow, and he chooses to be on the side of the wrong. Right?
Is it like this? If you have given your word, you have to do
No. And in fact, the way we interpret Mahabharata is that this character's decision, we say is that Bhishma took the values as an absolute. He failed to interpret it. If he had interpreted it rightly, he would have said, yes, I have an obligation to protect the Hastinapura king, provided that person is a deserving person. I have no obligation to protect a person who's adharmic person, who then will abuse the power and abuse people around. So that means his failure to interpret Dharma correctly cost him his life, right?
But it's the same thing Nachiketa is saying to his father, you have said, and now be with your word. And there's another scene in the Mahabharata when Arjuna comes full of pride back, mother, look what I have won. And she was saying, share it with your brothers.
Yes, exactly. So that's why in interpretation, you have to be careful, right? That's where the difficulties are. Are you interpreting it correctly, or are you not interpreting it correctly? Mahabharata is not a story which tells that all those interpretations were right. It shows a very exalted human being can go wrong in the interpretation. Right?
Okay.
That's what makes you alive to complexity of living life of Dharma. The rich, that you always have to be alert, and you have to keep your reasoning straight. Otherwise you can get carried away with ideals, and which makes you do things which are not in keeping with what is to be done. This is why the Dharma, which is really the real Dharma, is that of Krishna. He is able to interpret it correctly. Others, even though they are evolved, they end up sometimes making a wrong choice. Very good question.
And also I think it's in the Bhagavad Gita, the main thing is to protect Dharma, and that's why I think the soldiers should turn around.
Okay, now the soldier, according to Ruth, this soldier is operating within, he has two dharmas. He has Samanya Dharma, which is the universal ethical values, which is what? Not to kill somebody. And he is also having his own Swadharma as a soldier who finds himself in this rule. Now, there is a conflict here between Samanya Dharma and Swadharma. Which one wins?
Depends.
Depends. Really depends. Right? Because it really depends upon where exactly is this soldier in the scheme of things. This is why the argument of Krishna to Arjuna is that Duryodhana is an adharmic king. But a normal, ordinary soldier has no power to challenge him and to fight against him. But in the scheme of things, Arjuna, you're in a position who can challenge him. Everybody cannot challenge him. Everybody doesn't have the capacity to challenge. So therefore, you have to do, because it's your responsibility. But it is not the same responsibility which is borne by every other soldier. That's why Swadharma is a very dynamic. What is your sphere of influence? What can you do at that given point in time? And where is your position? That's why there is no one answer. I can't give one answer that he has to do this. It depends.
And what comes plus this situation is also the question, do the soldier or anybody have the capacity to see what is the right Dharma? Because if you're in the system, you're in this whole thinking models and you think this is right.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't have that discrimination, there is no conflict. You just do it blindly. But if you have certain understanding of Swadharma, then there is a conflict. Then how do you resolve that conflict? Right? But according to the laws of Dharma, the way the Dharmas operate, the responsibility, let's say even if this soldier does something, right, and takes one Jew to a concentration camp, right, his responsibility in the laws of karma would be less than that of the leader. Because who is the decision maker? It's a normal legal system works like that too. You have a person who has masterminded the murder and you have somebody who has executed it. Who has more responsibility? The mind. Even though the physical act is done by somebody else, that's why Osama bin Laden is searched when somebody bombs World Trade Center. He hasn't himself bombed it, but you are looking for the mind behind it, right? Because that mind has more responsibility than you. So even the dharma, even if you are going against dharma, the responsibility, the impact of how much papa that you will have will again be different. It will not be the same. That's why it's complex. David, I hope I kind of put this whole thing in perspective. In order to not, I want to show this question that he's raising is so important, so critical, and I want to give you two other examples to show that these are the kind of problems that we constantly come up with. And this is why you need to refine your understanding of how this world works. Okay? The second that I wanted to give is a real example also. Okay? During the British rule in India, somebody who's an Indian was a judge. A judge in a court. Right? So as a judge, what is his duty? To follow the rule. To follow the rule.
British.
And who is deciding the rule? British. So that means the Indian has to follow the rule which are decided by the British. And according to the British rule, all these freedom fighters who are Gandhi, they are not ordinary people. Gandhi, Nehru, Sardar Patel, Bhagat Singh, Lokmanya Tilak, great leaders, great freedom fighters, great visionary. Who are they? They have what? They are criminals.
Terrorists.
Because, exactly, they are going against the British rule. Now, as a judge who is an Indian, he has to rule. A court case comes. What is this Swadharma? Complex.
To quit.
Yeah, exactly. One of the options is to quit. And that is what many people did during the British rule. Many people quit. The whole thing is non-violent non-cooperation. The movement was named as non-violent non-cooperation. If I, as an officer, stopped doing my job, the British were ruling, but all the administration was in the hands of Indians. They could not bring all the Britishers. If all the administration just gives up, how will the country be ruled? Non-violent non-cooperation. Quit. That's your option. Your Swadharma, which goes along with Samanya Dharma. But let's say you have children to feed. And parents and grandparents who are relying on you. Difficult, exactly. I want you to understand that the discussion of Dharma is intricate. To live a life of Dharma, you need to be extremely intelligent and extremely vigilant.
What I found out now, that somehow my feeling to Dharma is different now through your question, because now I feel it's not stable rules I have to know and to learn and to write, but it's Dharma to think and to look, and so it's alive.
Super.
Dharma is alive.
That's why the education on Dharma cannot be 10 rules and follow it.
Yeah.
No.
It's easier.
It seems to be easier, but it gives no solutions. You need to cultivate your buddhi. To be able to interpret Dharma correctly, you need to be highly evolved and a highly thinking person. And it's constant. Constantly you find yourself in a situation where you are in a system which has wrong rules, and what do? And it's not always that easy.
There are persons who kill themselves for this.
Now I want to bring to you a modern context, which is nothing to do with this World War times and independence times, and this is something. Now this is what I want to show you, which is a very important point. And which is a very relevant point.
Neema,
Okay, we'll do it later.
Yes, try with this. Maybe it's better.
Das kriegst du nicht mehr so.
Doch, das ist schon gemacht.
Das ist besser.
Oder das nass machen.
Doch, ist
Nass
besser.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, can I do one last or no?
Yes,
We have no
yes,
time.
Yeah. You can do.
Need
We know this is real. We know management consultant in France, and he does these seminars, right? And the seminars are called Ethics and Management. And in those seminars, the message is given in that whole understanding of ethics, that imagine you're working in a company which is operating on principles which are unethical. in what way the company could have unethical principles? Can you think about it?
Pharma industry.
Pharma industry. Okay. What could be wrong in pharma industry? Let's not label the industry. Let's see what could be wrong.
Profit is in the first place.
Okay. Now what's wrong in profit being in the first place?
Harming many people.
Why would you harm others by just wanting to be profitable?
Because
Yeah,
you test
Why are you, one second.
because you test the medicaments in India, for example.
Sorry?
You test their medicaments in India, and many people get harmed by that.
Okay. So just the fact that you are interested in profit does not make you a dharmic. Please understand. Every entity, economic entity is based on profit making. The definition, by definition it is not bad. Please take out all these funny ideas that you all have, or everybody has. Okay? What Root is saying is right. The very fact that it is profit making is nothing adharmic. Don't think that because it is profit making, therefore it is adharmic. That doesn't have any logic. Right? But in order to get the profit, if I'm a pharma company and I'm doing my clinical trials in India or any other developing country which does not have stringent standards, right? Or where I can bribe somebody and approve the drug when actually it has harmful side effects, then it is against Dharma. Understand that. Be specific. Right? So therefore, this is one way. So profit I don't want to put. Okay, a pharma company, right, engaging in clinical trials in developing country. And developing country also doesn't mean that it's wrong. Please understand. Please learn to be much more precise in your thinking. Just because it is done in India doesn't mean that it is wrong, or it is going to be adharmic, or it is not going to have stringent standards. Refine your thinking, right? But if it is manipulating a system, whether it is in India or in Brazil or in China or even within Europe, doesn't matter, anywhere. If it is manipulating the clinical trials to release the medicines which are not good, right, then it enters adharma. True? In what other way can this company be unethical?
For example, not to look after natural stuff.
Excellent.
And give the money in research for chemical and more nature.
Very good. Right? If it in order to produce its products and to market them, is totally extracting the resources from the earth in an unsustainable manner, where you leave nothing for the future generation, then that is against ethics, right? So over-extract, some extraction is something which you can't avoid. Nobody can do anything in this world if you just don't use some resources. But irresponsible usage of resources, excess usage of resources. Irresponsible usage of resources. What are the other ways?
Pollution of environment.
Pollution of an environment. Excellent. In your manufacturing processes, if there are other technologies available which are more eco-friendly, but in search for profit, you use inferior technologies. If you have no option, you have no option. But if you have an option, and if you choose an inferior technology to save money, to increase your profit, then it reaches unethical. Right? So here you have pollution as when you have an option and you use inferior technologies, right? Which other way?
Not respecting labor rights.
Excellent. Labor rights. Your own people, they are undercompensated. They don't have enough, benefits.
Money.
Yeah, exactly. Either money or other privileges, right? So it is skewed in a way that it is almost leading to exploitation, right? So this is what you are not respecting labor rights and labor laws. These are all these decisions which are made. Okay, what else?
Animal testing.
Yeah, this is all in pharma, animal testing.
Not paying people well.
This is nice.
Yeah, this is labor rights.
Okay.
Yeah.
And unfair manipulation with advertising.
Excellent. Unfair manipulation with advertising.
Advertising is
Werbung.
to say that vitamin B16 is, you can die of it, but in fact it helps.
Yeah, exactly. There are so many of these campaigns which are misrepresenting realities, right? Ad campaigns where you show that this product is going to do all these. You know what Surya always told me, that generally when you're in India, when you look at all these brands from France, Chanel and Dior and all, you think, wow. And he says that they are exactly the same chemicals as any normal brand, is just the marketing which is giving it such an edge over the others. Maybe a slight difference, but a very insignificant difference in quality. Okay? So it is all about marketing and branding. So you present that product in a light which doesn't correspond to reality, but you create that image and then people believe in that image and they go for it. And you rip them off in the process. Right? So advertising campaigns which are unfair manipulation, putting the other products down, using women in a kind of a derogatory way to promote your products. These are all unethical practices. Okay, so many different ways. There is no one way. Just because it is profit-making entity doesn't make it adharmic. When it does all these to make profit, then it becomes adharmic. Now, the question is, you find yourself, now this company, all these decisions are made by whom? Because company is not an entity, they are a collection of individuals.
By the managers.
By the management, right? So this company is not really an entity, there are managers. Either you can say CEO, managing directors, then you have managers to implement this. So at the top you have this, then now, if you are an employee in this company,
No, family.
Exactly. So the message that this management consulting had, the ethics and management, he is giving a message that by being an employee in this organization, you are helping the whole structure. So what is the whole thing? Quit. Now, if everybody starts quitting, find me a company which has got none of these. Find me a company, you'll end up in the Himalayas.
Not even charity companies.
Not even charity companies.
No.
True. Very, very true. Where you will not have any of these problems. Dharma.
Most important.
Right? Sphere of influence, very important. Okay? Let's say you're in accounting department So that's why I told this management consultant, I said, I will not give a message that by doing here, you are participating in adharma, therefore you quit. Because, as he very rightly says, you also have dharma to what? Earn a living, support family, live a life. And if you have no other option, there are no companies who are not following any of the rules, what option do you have?
So the option is to break.
Exactly. The option is to wait. Intelligent living. The option is to wait. There is no, I can't give one unique message, remain in this company or give it up. It all depends. Right? If I choose to remain here, I have a choice. Within my sphere of influence, accounting, I can be as honest as possible. I can do that within my sphere of influence. I'm not responsible for all the actions that are taken by those people. I don't need to hold the burden of their actions. But each one, like that video that I showed on the first day, has also the capacity to go a little bit beyond one's own immediate responsibilities. That capacity is given, but you have to use it intelligently. Quitting is not always the answer. How do you intervene intelligently, step by step, within a system and still try to change it to the extent that is possible? Do your little bit, wait. Do a little bit again, wait. Right? These missions of changing the world and creating a revolution and all, or hating the world and hating the societies, these are dangerous ideas. If you hate it, every day you have to go and you have to work in this thing that you hate. Your face will be long. But if you say, wow, this is an interesting situation, I have to use my intelligence and find ways, it's fun. What can I do? What can I not do? And that also keeps changing over a period of time.
And that's actually the message also we had in the story this morning. I mean, there was a whole other layer of non-resistance to the situation, and then coming up with intelligent solutions.
Excellent. This is exactly what happened to Nachiketa. He found himself in a difficult situation, but he emerged as a winner by intelligently navigating. Intelligent navigation. Not all these ideals that we create of dharma and this and that, and hating people and hating societies, and hating politicians and hating companies. This is a burden that we carry within ourselves. You find yourself in a system which is an imperfect system. Unfortunately.
Okay, now it's time.
Yes, and you have to learn to navigate intelligently. That is the whole thing of dharma. Following dharma is fun. Make it fun. Every day a situation presents itself. It tests how clever you are.
But in politics...
In finding solutions.
In politics we call this fundamentalisten and realos or fundamentalists, I think.
Right? So ethics means you can't disregard ethics, but live intelligently. Find solutions which are practical and at the same time honor as much as possible dharma. Right? This whole relative, thank you David for asking this question, because it's a very critical part of understanding of Dharma according to Vedas. There is no black and white, there are lots of grey areas. And that's why one has to be attentive and alert and dynamic interpretation of Dharma. And it's fun. Life becomes fun.
And I think also in development, because then you get more knowledge, you can get in another position, and you can spread
Exactly.
influence,
Absolutely.
information. Otherwise,
Yeah, otherwise, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. So to hold these ideas about companies are bad and to the governments are bad, these are destructive ideas. Become nuanced in your thinking. Very important. Okay? Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.